Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to season 2 of Career Congregation. And I'm very excited today. My first guest for season 2 is named Eddie Truong. Eddie found me from having heard a previous episode of Career Congregation, and he has a really inspiring story that is ongoing that we wanted to share on the podcast. So Eddie works as a professionally trained inter-transformational coach, a mental clarity expert, and he is the founder of the ERA coaching system, which is a movement rooted in empowerment, rediscovery, and awakening. And Eddie helps successful but restless high performers find balance and enter flow state so that they can perform at their peak and experience lasting inner peace. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Eddie. How are you doing? Welcome.
I'm I'm doing great, Megan. Thank you. And I just learned that I'm the season opener, and so that's a great honor. I just have really appreciate to be here.
Yeah, we took a little breather after episode 25.
Yeah,
And so you are the first guest for season 2, which is really exciting. So,
yeah. No pressure, right? No pressure.
yeah.
No pressure.
So, can you start out by giving us a little bit about your background? So, your cultural background
hmm
and ethnicity and the early days of Eddie, like what shaped you, what formed you?
hmm Yes. So I was actually born and raised in Vietnam, and growing up and have a pretty normal childhood. Everything, I was very lucky to be in a very loving family, very supportive. And growing up, in Vietnam, the big thing about culture is that education is such a focal key in everything that we do, and is so that's what we focus on a lot. If I can describe my childhood in a few words, it would be studying and love for my family. So everything have a pretty normal upbringing until about when I was 13 and 14. And this is when I start having this really passionate dream about studying university in the US. Because I actually have my sister who about 5 years older than me, 6 years older than me, and she was able to study in the US through a student exchange program.
Mhm.
And every time she would call back home, she would tell me all this amazing thing about the US and all the new things she get to explore and experience all the fun she has, and also how much she was able to grow because by being independent at a young age. So she was 17 when she first moved, and she also told me about how difficult it was and all the challenges. But as a kid, I have selective hearing. I didn't really hear that part. I really focused on, oh, that's really fun, and I just the freedom and just how much she was able to roll. That's something that really intrigued me. So I have this dream of studying U.S. But you know, but my family was, we did all right in Vietnam, middle class family. But does that mean that we couldn't afford that university tuition in the U.S. Because that's a very
Lot for anyone. The international student fees,
hmm
it's like six figures a year.
yeah, and is and good thing you brought it up because as international student, we actually pay what we call outstate tuition
Yeah.
compared to people from Texas, from in-state, they pay in-state tuition, and outstate tuition is about 2 to 3 times higher than regular tuition. So that also added to the challenge. And because of that, my parent was very honest with me. That they would sacrifice everything for me, but they were honest about our situation, and they say that the one only way for me to get this scholarship was a full, to achieve the dream is to have a full ride scholarship. And for some reason,
It's
as
very difficult.
yeah, very difficult. But for some reason, at 13 and 14, when I heard that, I didn't get deterred. I didn't get discouraged. I actually thought, well, I have 4 more years to do this. Like, I got this. So what I did was I break it down by step. So if I think I had to get a full ride scholarship, it's so big and so overwhelming. So I say, let me just focus on the next step. And the next step for me was to get a TOEFL, to pass this TOEFL test, the test of English as a foreign language. And for this test, I read the requirement that usually have to consider for full ride scholarship. For TOEFL, you need to have a 100 over 120 for you to
Okay.
be considered.
Yeah.
And I studied the whole year for it. It's day and night. And when I took the test, I got 101. And I was
Wow.
like, that's it. I mean, that's all I could do. I take the extra point. So let's go to the next step. The next step would be the SACs test, which is the entry exam for
Yeah.
university in the US.
SATs. I hated those.
That was the biggest challenge, and I studied the whole year for it. The requirement, the criteria was to get 2,000 over 2,400.
Okay.
That was the scale when I took the test, and I studied the whole year for it. The first time I took it, I got 1860, and
Okay.
I was devastated. I was like, "Oh no, this is not going good." So I asked my dad, like, "Dad, please, apply for me for one more try next month, and I promise I could do better." Because each time you apply, you have to pay, a certain amount, which is,
I took
uh,
them a few times, I remember. And
yeah.
you don't have to take the whole thing. Like if you do well in math, then you can keep
Oh,
and
see,
you
I did not have the option. I had to take the
yeah.
whole thing again. That's
Oh,
what it's challenge. So, but
I hated SATs. Hated.
I, hey, me and you, we're gonna have a separate call about how much we hate the test.
Yeah, I hate it. That was the anxiety, like the
Mm.
it's so much. Yeah, way too much is put on those tests. Not fair.
And for the second time, and I really studied day and night, and I actually remember the night before my test, I couldn't sleep, and I was actually crying because how much stress I was, and I was just praying that I will able to achieve my dream. And the second time I took the test, I got 1950, and I say that's it. That's as close as I could humanly possibly get. I'm just gonna pray that's enough. So I'm like I'm happy. It's below what I'm looking for, but that's how I could do. And then the next year is applying for school, writing essay, finding school, and keep applying. I get rejected until one day in February 2012, I got a letter that say I was offered a full ride scholarship for the University of Texas Arlington,
Wow.
and I was over the moon. I mean, I couldn't describe the feeling when you were 17, when you have a dream you work years and years toward, and you finally achieve it. Uh, that was more than heaven to me. And it's also taught me an important lesson too as a young age that no matter how many no I got, all I really needed was one yes.
Yeah.
So it really building that determination into me as well.
It's also what you're describing is the
Mm-hmm.
building blocks of coaching. This is how you
Mm-hmm.
became a coach. You literally coached yourself through the steps because like in coaching, people come in and either they want a big shift in their life or they're working towards something, right? Like coaching,
Mm-hmm.
I tell people like therapy is looking at the past, healing
Mm-hmm.
old stuff
100%.
and
Mm-hmm.
coaching is looking at the future. And like if
Mm-hmm.
you want coaching, you can have an exercise coach and you've got a big goal to lose weight or you want to get a different job or like start your own business or whatever. Coaching, it's so important. It's like solution focused and it's very
Mm-hmm.
much breaking it down into bite-sized pieces that's
Mm-hmm.
digestible and it's baby steps, one day at a time, one day at a time. So you created your own formula for coaching through your own lived experience at such a young
Yeah.
age as well.
You know, I actually didn't think about that way until you brought it up, and I'm like, you're right. So I guess I've been a coach since I was 17. But
Well, and that's what happened, that's what draws us to do this work is that once
mm-hmm.
we go through stuff, you're an expert now in how to go really complicated
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And therapists and coaches alike are very drawn to work with what they know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is also a huge exercise in resilience and
Mm-hmm.
rejection, right? Which is
Yeah.
life. And there's no such rejection is redirection, right? You just keep going.
I love that. Yeah, and And sometimes I look back too, I was very, almost like impressed, very proud of that younger version of me because when you're in the midst of it, it didn't seem like I did anything extraordinary. It's almost like it's my day-to-day life. So
Yeah.
I was too close to really realize the significance of my accomplishment. But now looking back, I was very proud of that kid for never giving up on that dream. But this is when the shift in my life began to happen too, because uh, this move required me to be, moving all by myself to the U.S. So I will have to be alone in a whole new country for the first time of my life. But I was
Yeah.
so because this is a dream I've been working toward years and years for. When I got the dream, achieved it, I was very happy. I was so excited about the move. I wasn't worried about any. I didn't even think about all the struggle that I had. I was just so happy that I got this move. And I remember a few months before I traveled to the U.S., one of my really close friend, he kind of asked me. He was like, "Hey, are you not worried about the culture shock? Have you thought about that?" And this is almost word for word exactly what I told him. I say, "Culture shock. I love hot dog. I eat burger like no tomorrow. I love pizza. I watch MTV. I love HBO, ESPN. Like what culture shock? Like I was made for the US. Like I love it." And Megan, I could have not been more wrong.
Yep.
Uh,
It's
the
rough. So
it's
rough.
rough, and the first thing that hit me right away was the loneliness and the isolation. But it didn't hit me right when I landed. It actually hit me a few days after my move to the U.S. My roommate at the time, he was kind enough to invite me to this local, like almost like a local community talent show. And in this show, people was dancing, singing. There was stand-up comedian. Like it was a variety show that everybody was having so much fun, including myself.
Hmm.
And in the midst of all this fun and joy, there's something suddenly hit me. And then I start looking to my left, and then I start looking to my right, and I realized that I didn't know anyone here. And that the next person I do know and the next person I call family was actually 10,000 miles away.
Yeah.
And that broke me down. I couldn't stop crying. And the worst feeling about it too was I remember telling myself, this is not a dream I could wake out of. This when I get home, when I go to bed, and the next day I wake up, this will continue to be my reality, and will be so for.
Did you want to leave?
It made me want to live, but I couldn't. So it made me feel very hopeless.
Well, you could have.
For a 17 years old kid, I definitely didn't wouldn't be able to handle the fact that I achieved a dream for so long and
Yeah.
just quit right away. That wasn't something that a 17 years old me could do, uh, and I felt almost stuck. But at the same time, I knew the only way is to move forward. But it was really challenging. And adding on to that, acting beside the loneliness was the culture shock. Now this is where I come in because when I was young, one of the way I make connect with people was my sense of humor.
Mhm.
But I have learned through the hard way that the sense of humor in the U.S. is very different than the sense of humor of Vietnamese. I've learned that American is very sarcastic,
Yeah.
whereas for somebody who wasn't used accustomed to that, it's very challenging for me to know when somebody is joking and when somebody is serious. And because I've learned the hard way too, is that if somebody say, "Hey, you a really smart cookie, ain't you?" They don't really think you're a smart cookie. So that was
Well, they
challenging
might,
for me.
but
They
probably not.
might, but they probably not the way they were saying it. So adding on to that, so I couldn't make any friend, and I was teased for my accent. So that really, I already have social anxiety growing up, and that just amplified it. And then adding on to that was one of the requirement for my scholarship was I have to have a 3.5 GPA every semester for them to renew it. And in the US, we have a 4.0 scale. So to get 3.5 over 4.0, that's basically saying you have to get A's in every class.
Mhm.
And for a Vietnamese kid who just got to the US, who doesn't understand how the testing system and how really work in the US, that was so challenging. And adding all of
I
that,
find
that
it. be so like cruel when I was at university because obviously I grew up in the UK, but then
Mm,
when I was at university in the US, like you can have, you know, A minus, whatever in all your classes.
mm,
But if you get one B, it
mm.
knocks you down so much, and
Yeah.
it's like impossible to recover from. Because I remember like when I was at UCLA, because I transferred into UCLA with a
Mm.
4.0, and I was like, yeah, da, 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 and I got like a B minus in one of my
Mm.
classes, and I was never able to get it. It's cruel. It's like a
Yeah.
really it's a mean system. I don't like it.
And a semester you only get like 3 to 4 class, right? Or you push
Yeah,
it 5. So because of that, it's like you say, its rate reduction affects so much, and
yeah,
that's one of the reason why I have such a huge pressure to succeed. That there's such a huge amount of pressure on me as a 18 years old kid, and I have during that time it pushed me to severe depression, and I actually have a constant nightmare. It is the same dream, but the dream is that I got the letter saying that because of I wasn't able to meet the requirement to maintain my scholarship, so I have to move, I have to leave school and move back to Vietnam, and that for insecure 17 years old kid, that nightmare was like devastation, and that so adding everything together, I was going through a period what I call now like dark nights of the soul, where
yeah,
I got really anxious close to like just giving up on everything. And one of the thing about what make it so challenging was I have nobody that I could talk to, and I have my mom who was always there by my side. She really worried about me, so we talk on the phone all the time. But I wasn't able to express how I felt. I wasn't able to. I didn't have the understanding nor the vocabulary to really express myself. And also, mental health wasn't something in my culture of Vietnamese, especially when I was growing up. It wasn't something we talk about or discuss.
yeah.
We don't.
I find that with a lot of my clients and in
Mm,
a lot I would say even in a lot of Western families, it's still there's a stigma and like
mm,
it's kind of found it's in the US, it's definitely more like well especially now and like California everyone has a
mm.
therapist,
Yeah.
everyone can, like message their therapist whenever, but like the from California the further east you go it becomes more and more difficult to
Mm,
discuss mental health or therapy or like needing support through difficult times like in
mm.
the UK it's like quite a privilege.
Yeah.
um Younger people talk about it, but a lot of my clients that are younger come because they're like I can't talk about my feelings with my family, and like
Yeah.
when I tell my parents that I'm in therapy like they think I'm like I need to go to a mental institution or something, like
Yeah.
it's like super severe.
100%.
It's like just trying
Mm,
to get their parents to talk about it, but then I have like friends who are from, like India, China, Japan,
mm.
and it's like, no, 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 we like we cannot go to therapy. Like and if we do, like we cannot tell
Yeah.
our families. Like it's
Yeah.
the farther east is just like absolutely no.
Yeah, and I really don't blame my parents because they were very loving and they want to be there for me. It's just that it was just in our culture, we just didn't have an understanding of it, and I learned to come to understand because also this is my why I think too is this is a privilege for us now that meant we're able to focus on our mental health.
Mhm.
My parents grew up during wartime,
Yeah.
so survival, like
Yes.
literal survival was
Survival was
yeah,
their
Syrian
priority.
survival was their number one focus, and they have to and providing for family. So they didn't have the privilege for us to be able to start thinking about purpose and how we doing our mental well-being. So as much of a struggle it was to going through that, I have come to realize that was a privilege for me as well to be able to have those conversations. But at that time, I just wasn't able to express myself, and because of that, it drove me deeper into a depression, and it there was many night that I really come close to giving up, but I keep hearing this voice. I knew this voice didn't come from within. It didn't come from here, nor did it come from here. It's to me, it's almost like a voice, a divine intervention. Like this voice come from a much higher power that keeps saying, that keep repeating to me, like, don't give up. There's purpose to this. Don't give up. There's purpose to this, and keep saying over and over again, don't give up. There's purpose to this, and that really make me. I chose to have such faith in that voice, and I
Yeah.
say, okay, there's purpose to this, and because before I almost look at it like a curse, like why did I have to go through this? All I did was want to achieve my dream. Why did I have to suffer so much? Like I felt like I was being punished by a crime I didn't know I commit. That's how I felt, and I felt cursed. But with because of this void, I felt like I'm not being punished. I'm being repaired, and that really what kickstarted my passion in mental health and to help other people going through the same thing. Because first it starts with understanding what's going through with myself first. Because I really what is going on, and the most the one biggest lesson I learned at that time was just how much power our mind and our thought have on us. I mean, it could make somebody or break somebody with
Yeah.
just these things that we couldn't even think. It's these intangible things, but have such power over us. And I was very determined to understand it. I was determined uh, to learn it, understand it, and so that one day I can help other people. And
You
that has
also,
become my purpose.
well, yeah, well, and exact like on that line, like
Mm-hmm.
you also really stretched your sort of window of tolerance
Mm-hmm.
by taking on huge challenges when you were very young.
Mm-hmm.
So your resilience is very
Mm-hmm.
high. Like it took a lot for you to get to a point where you felt like you might break, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
someone else who hadn't challenged themselves so much from such a younger age could very easily have given up or, walked away from that
Mm-hmm.
with a lot less pressure.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm also a big believer that everything happened for a reason. So I really look back at that time as like my greatest blessing. And
Yeah.
that took a lot of inner work to come to this place because, like I told you, even after that period, I would still have some resentment toward that. Because I still felt like it was so tough on 18 years old kid uh, that, like I say, for a long time I thought of it as a curse, but I really come to realize it's my greatest blessing because it's informed everything that I do now. This
Yeah.
passion that I have about helping other people, and this just deeper desire to for human connection came from that time.
Yeah.
So without that time, it's like I would not be who I am today. And I have this analogy that I use with my friend and also my client is that, especially for people who's going through a really difficult time, I always have this analogy saying that if you imagine that a diamond could talk,
Mhm.
don't you think the diamond would be thanking the immense pressure it went through tremendously because it without that tremendous pressure, the diamond would not be who it is right now. So
Yeah.
I always remind we are that diamond, and a lot of time we are in the midst of going through that intense heat, intense pressure, but it will be for a purpose.
Yeah. Completely. Also, like, just such a journey from
Mm-hmm.
you keep touching on your age that you were
Mm-hmm.
17, that you were 18. So how long did you feel that way? Um, like until you finished university? And were you, because 17 is quite young, so did
Mm-hmm.
you start young?
Yeah, because I moved to the US about a month before my 18th birthday, so I was
Okay.
technically still 17, and I felt that way for a long time, to be honest. But the intensity lessened.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this is a process that it wasn't like a one night process because people say this too. A lot of times they say the first step of solving a problem is knowing the awareness, right? Knowing you have a
Yeah, having
problem.
awareness. Yeah.
But then nobody ever talked about the second step, which like intense confusion and despair. It's like I was
Mm.
like, okay, so my thought and my emotion are the issue. How do I fix that? Like,
Yeah.
like where do I even begin? So I went through a period of just like, huge confusion. And so it's like knowing you have a problem and not know how to fix it. That's a really tough place to be too. And I say I was very lucky that I was born in a time when technology and education or knowledge is at my disposal.
Mhm.
YouTube was my teacher. I really YouTube and Google. I start listening to motivational speaker. I start listening to people talk about mental health, and I start reading
Which
forum.
who were
Yeah.
your go-to people? Who were your favorites?
Oh, so this list like something I collected over the years, but at the beginning it was Tony Robbins.
Yeah, Tony. He
Tony
Tony
Robbins.
so many people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
funny about a story about Tony too was, uh, I actually just give you a little bit funny story how I learned about Tony was, one day when I was out, I struck a conversation with a really beautiful lady, and
Hmm.
who I have like a crush on, and but that didn't go anywhere.
Uh-huh.
But in the meantime, she was very kind with me, and she took interest in learning about myself. And I asked, and by the way, for a kid with social anxiety, she had to be really beautiful for me to like have the courage to step up. I was that scared. And she was really nice, and she asked me about what I do, what I'm passionate about, and I told her that, oh, I'm studying engineering, but I have this passion about mental health. This is a little bit after me going through that period at 18. And she said, mental health, I think you should check out Tony Robbins.
Hmm.
And I say, Tony Robbins, okay. And she asked, do you have Netflix? And I say, I do have Netflix. And she say, watch I Am Your Guru. I think you would love that. And I actually put out for 6 months until one day I just browsing Netflix and it just recommended I Am Your Guru, and I watch it and I was just amazed, not not by specific technique, but by just how much connection he was able to have with somebody, and how that like I can tell this is somebody who really want to help somebody. Like the energy is something I felt right away,
I mean,
and
he has one of the strongest gifts I've ever seen. Like
hmm
it's such a gifted individual.
yeah,
It's like he's channeling when he's
yeah.
on stage, and
hmm
people go to him live and they are transformed.
I actually was just at his Unleashed Power Within event in California. So
How
I
was
just came
it?
back for that. So that was amazing. And what really struck me about Tony Chu because of that Netflix documentary, I actually purchased, I didn't, okay, mega confession. I want to learn more about Tony, and he has this cassette tape that he made like in the 90s. It's called Personal Power Chew. I
What's it
think you
called?
remember. Personal Power Chew.
Okay. Okay.
And
I
this
don't.
is like a 30 it's a list of cassette tape for 30 days, and each
Mhm.
day you listen to there's a lesson. And I look online, and this go for $200.
Wow.
And as a broke college student, I did not have $200, so I did what every broke college student do. I trying to find and bootleg
You
the
found it
thing.
for free.
Yeah, so I found it on SoundCloud. So shout out to whoever. Somebody posted the whole thing, but they only posted 18 of the 30 days.
Oh, so
And I
annoying.
say that's good enough for me. I mean, but so I remember playing the cassette tape, and the first on day one, Tony doesn't really go into any lesson, but Tony just want to talk about who he is and just how much he want to help other people, and there's just so much passion and love in the way he talked, and like I felt like he was talking directly to me. And even though I don't know who this person don't know who I am, but I can genuinely feel that he have unconditional love for me, and that he want me to overcome the struggle I overcame. And I told myself I want to be that for somebody one day. Like I
Yeah.
want people to know that even if I don't know them, I have this undying love and compassion for them. And there's nothing I want more is to be that guidance to help them overcome the challenge they have. And that was really when the first moment when I knew I want to become a coach because
How
of
was
that.
that experience for you as an engineering student?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a difficult sort of crossroads for you to?
It was very challenging because as international student too, we want to think about staying in the U.S. To stay in the U.S. long term. You have to get a career
Yeah.
that allow you to be able to get sponsored for a green card. And usually STEM major is the one that gets sponsored the most, and that's the route I chosen. And engineering was something I'm really good at. It's just that my passion was mental health, and so I knew it was like I knew one thing is something I have to do, and the other thing is my passion. So I was doing them, learning about them both at the same time. Uh, we were challenging, and especially with engineering, you have to be very logical. So it's very mind heavy. But with coaching, you have to be very present in the moment. So it's very more like energy. So one's the mind and one's in the body. So it was challenging, but at the same time, I always say everything happened for a reason. And because of my engineering background, because of my background having worked in corporate job, working at 9 to 5, I have a deep understanding of how people in the professional world think and feel. And that's also led me to doing what I love now, was helping successful yet rested high performer, because that was who I am, because I understand that in the professional world, everything, the conversation can become very transactional, where it's about project, about deadline, about KPI, that there was not in a place for human being to be able to express themselves, or to even the space for them to slow down.
Yeah.
So without my engineering background, without that my engineering career, I would not have that deep understanding of what a high performer would go through, especially in the corporate world.
Mhm.
So that's why what I do now, I'm able to combine both at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's why I have such gratitude to my engineering career as well, because
Yeah.
it's given me the understanding, and such gratitude about my passion mental health, because it's allowed me to connect and help people.
Yeah. Can you explain your method then?
Hmm.
Your ERA
Yeah.
coaching sort of process. What does that look
Hmm.
like without giving your secrets away, obviously?
God, hey, I love giving secrets away. That's what we're here.
Yeah.
So, so ERA stands for, as you mentioned, empowerment, rediscovery, and awakening. And I promise, I didn't just Google three, mental health sounding word and just put them together. This is actually the exact framework and methodology that I created and also applied to not only my own life, but to my client as well. Because the very first step of any coaching relationship is start with empowerment,
Mhm.
because so often, especially when we're going through a difficult time, we couldn't help but feel powerless. We
Yeah.
felt like the power to change can only come from outside, can only come from within. That's why we'll say things like, that's why we waiting for somebody magically appear in our life to just help us overcome this, or we wait for that promotion, or we wait for that career change, or we wait for that whatever circumstances that we're waiting on. We say once that happens, then I'll be able to change. Then I'll be able to take that step. But as a coach, the very first thing is I want to bring back the power to my client and help them understand that the power to change, the power to transform, can't only be and will only be within you. I will always be here, and I hear this as a coach. It's always a blessing for me when I receive a message from my client say that, Eddie, you changed my life. But
Yeah.
as much as and as a coach, I bet I know you have those moments as well. But as ratifying as those statements make me feel, I always remind them that's not true, because I didn't change their life. They did. All I
Yeah.
did was being their guidance to help guide them through the way. But the life changing things happen at the very first step, when they make that decision to change, and
Yeah.
that's something only they could do. And then but then you could listening to this could say, well, how do you empower someone? There's many ways as a coach, but I'm giving away two secrets right now. The first way is to not to have complete faith and understanding that everyone is naturally creative, resourceful, and whole, and you demonstrate this belief by not giving them the answer, by trusting them and be patient and guiding them to get the answer within themselves.
Well, and it's also because the answer will be different for every person, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
what is best for me is not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily what's best for you. So
Hundred
really
percent.
only they can know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I get in therapy, people are like, "Well, what should I do?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"You think you should do?" And they're like, "Don't ask me another question." I'm like, "Yeah, but only you know. I don't know what's
Exactly.
for you. I want to
But
help you
for
get there, but
yeah, but for someone to understand that only they know, they first have to be empowered first to
Mhm.
understand. Because a lot of time, when we're going through a challenge, we just want the answer given to us. Like, just tell me what do I need to do. And so it takes patience from not only the coach but also on the client to go through that process and uncover and figure out the answer within themselves. And
Yeah.
this is my philosophy. A solution, what is a solution? Information from without is a solution, but information from within is a transformation.
Yeah.
Because one they reach that truth themselves, that just unlock everything. Because if I just give the information and solution, it may only become a temporary fix. But once somebody really arrive at that truth themselves, it would completely change who they are.
Yeah.
So number one is don't get trust that they will have the answer themselves. Be the guidance through the process. And step number two is what I call use acknowledgement instead of compliment. Compliment is saying something nice to make the other person feel good.
Hmm.
Acknowledgement is shining a bright light on the strength and characteristic that someone is too close to see. For example, a compliment could be like, Megan, that's a really beautiful sweater you have on, or I love what you did with your hair. But a compliment would be like, Megan, the way you show up today, despite everything that you're going through, that's strength. The way you were able to sit with your emotion without running away, that's courage. See, we always have strength, we always have courage, but sometimes we are too close to recognize that. So
Yeah.
acknowledgement is about shining a bright light so they can see that they are already powerful.
And also people need to hear that because
Mm-hmm.
we are so mean to ourselves.
100%.
So mean to, and I listen to my clients beat themselves up and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that is not how anyone else sees you. You know? And then when I tell them like, no, you like your energy is incredible and like the way you
Mm-hmm.
respond to things and you're so thoughtful and you're so considerate. And they're always like, really? Like, is that
Yeah.
how you see me?
Mm-hmm.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's allowed them to be seen. It's allowed them to be loved. And like you say, uh, we are our own biggest critic. And I always say, hey, if you imagine a friend talking to you the way you talk to yourself, would you be friend with that person? And the
Yeah.
answer is always, no. So just by doing the few things, really, really change somebody from the way they view themselves. And because every client I come to, I look at them with such love and compassion. I know they're so powerful. My job is just to help them to realize just how powerful they already are. And then once we accomplish this step, then we step onto this discovery. This is when together we discover who you truly are beneath that accomplishment, beneath that presence of seat. Because, and also this is when we uncover like what has been really driving you. Because the number one truth that most high performer felt very difficult to admit is even myself included when it was going through this period was that our biggest driving factor, the biggest drive for us, was actually rooted in fear, in the lack, or in
Yeah.
fear of not being enough.
Yeah, who's in the driver's seat?
Exactly. So we kept chasing validation, social status, as well, hoping that if we achieve that, we will finally feel enough. And because that, but when we have the external accomplishment, we left feeling unfulfilled and empty, and but so we keep doing it, and so that become the rat race. And the analogy I use that we were like somebody who very thirsty in the middle of desert, chasing for a well, and once we reach the well, we realize the well is empty. So what we do is we keep going for another well, and then this
Yeah.
this is this is an unending journey that led to nowhere. And so when we really rediscover what been really driving you, rediscover who you truly are, and the biggest, my favorite exercise through this process is called your highest self.
Yeah.
Your higher self, like what would that, you as your optimal, you as your best, you, the person of you that achieve anything you ever dream of, what would that person look like? How would that person stand? What would be that person's energy? And we actually have an exercise where client actually physically step into this role and step into this higher self and embody this energy and feel amazing. And from that place, only from that place will we start talking about what's the next step or what's the next practical thing to do. But at the first, we have to step into that first, step into your true self.
Yeah.
And then the final piece is awakening. This is the fun stuff. This is when, after you empower, after you uncover who you truly are, this is when you start designing your dream life. What would that look like? What kind of impact you want to
All this
create?
stuff has been cleared away, right?
Yes.
Which
And
takes
this
takes a lot.
this is true, because this process isn't just for you. This process is for the people around you, for your family, for the one you love. Because you understand, once you transform, the transformation doesn't stay within you and only you. It's create a ripple effect into everyone surrounding you in your life.
Yeah.
And imagine just how much of the inspiration you're able to give your family or your children when you are not only successful but very peaceful and happy at the same time. Because the mainstream idea of success is somebody who have luxury car, luxury house, six, seven, eight-figure income, but at the same time very burnout, workaholic, and unhappy. And then the idea of somebody who achieved, inner peace is somebody who's rejected material possession, who, live in the forest and just meditate all day and just become very, at peace. And what I say, we can have both at the same time. You can have the career, the impact, the income that you want. And you can also be very peaceful and full of love. So to me, that's the true definition of success, when you can have that intertwined together at the same time. And by you being that person, that creates sort of ripple effects on the one you love. So my favorite question that I like to ask my client is that, who will you impact by being your higher self? And
Yeah.
how would you impact them? And that's to me is like just seeing that transformation, like reaching that destination. It's one of the most fulfilling experience I can have.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, as I explain this process, it seems like a very linear process, right? One to another to another. But the truth is, number one, the process is always ongoing.
Yeah.
There's no end, there's no destination to this. It's an ongoing process because this is life. This is not just a stop that we come up. This is how you live your life for the rest of your time here. But another key thing is that sometimes it's not a linear process. Most of the time it's not. Sometimes it go from one to another, back to the other, and then go a loop in a zigzag, and it's really different for everyone. And because once you're empowered with discover, but sometimes during this recovery process, you need to be empowered again. So the process is different for everyone because we are all unique, and that is also why I love what I do, because I get to witness that, and I get to be a part of that. I get to see things unfold uniquely for every of my clients. So this it's been one of the most fulfilling and joyful experience of my life, and I just feel really privileged and honored and blessed that I was entrusted to be in that process and experience with them.
Yeah. A couple of things that came up for me that I was thinking about when you were
Hmm.
talking was, one, the empowerment side of it, where
Hmm.
um, they have to truly want it, and it
Hmm.
has to be their choice to come to you and like have the realization that they want to experience a shift. And
Hmm.
this is it's a thing that I see a lot with well, not a lot, but I
Hmm.
see it with clients or potential clients when someone reaches out to me on behalf of someone else, like,
Hmm.
oh, my partner needs a therapist, or
Hmm.
I'm calling because my daughter, she really needs therapy, whatever. And I'm
Hmm.
always like, how old is this human, right? In the
Hmm.
UK, there's laws around that as well. Like, if you're over
Hmm.
18, only you can get your own help, right? It
Hmm.
can't be someone else doing it for you. Sometimes it's like people are court ordered to have therapy,
Hmm.
or sometimes it's a work condition, but and usually they're not very happy to be there. But
Hmm.
transformation is not going to happen if it's
Mm-hmm.
not their choice. So
Yeah.
that's like a huge one. And so that's often the biggest hurdle is like the admitting, okay, I can't do this on my own and I want to
Mm-hmm.
see a shift. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going through that experience to have the shift, and reaching for help.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that came up for me was, um, what was when you were talking about how it's such a privilege to help people go through the awakening, and then
Mm-hmm.
you say it's not just for them, who else
Mm-hmm.
does it impact? And I often say this to clients, like, if there is someone else that you think could benefit from an experience like this, or
Mm-hmm.
having therapy or coaching, but they won't go, you
Mm-hmm.
you are the example. So I'm like, lead
Mm-hmm.
through example.
100%.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if it's what it's like, I like to compare it to losing weight. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, be like, oh, I'm gonna go on this diet. I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. You can talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
but then if you don't lose the 50 pounds, you're not really going to inspire anyone. But if you go
Mm-hmm.
on like a crazy fitness regime, lose lots of weight, and start looking amazing, you're leading
Mm-hmm.
by example. People are going to start asking you,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like, you look great. Like, what's going on? And so it's just leading through example, and it's
Mm-hmm.
impossible not to have a ripple effect and touch everyone around you.
100%. And here's what I see too. The people that going through this transformation, there's such a shift in the energy about them. Uh, like that is it's impossible to not notice. And it's 100% guarantee you going through this transformation, people will start asking you, why are you doing different? There's something about you
Mm.
that there might not be a change in the physical appearance, but there's something that they could quite put the finger on, but they
Yeah, your
can feel it.
energy is different.
Your energy is different, and I promise they will ask you what's going on. And
Yeah.
just by that, it will allow them to, it will give them inspiration. Might not be immediately, but give them the inspiration that might be something they're interested in. Because I say energy is very contagious, and transformation is extremely contagious. So by you doing this work, you impacting more people than you could imagine.
Mhm. Yeah. And I also want to say, just to touch on, when someone starts doing this kind of work,
Mm-hmm.
it can be confronting because
Mm-hmm.
you have to like lift up the hood, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
see what's going on there. So when it's like, who is in the driver's seat, which we talked about
Mm-hmm.
earlier, like, why are you making the decisions that you're making? And when you realize, like, it can be quite like dark things that have been motivating you, or
Mm-hmm.
like, just stuff you've been avoiding. It
Mm-hmm.
can be confronting, and I often tell people in the beginning it can get a little bit worse before it gets better. And so
100%.
don't let that deter you, because some people will have 3 or 4 sessions
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot, and they like
Mm-hmm.
freak out, and then they don't want to come back. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's going at the right pace and
Mm-hmm.
understanding that, like, hey, stepping through fear is really fucking scary. You'll do it, you'll get there, but on
Mm-hmm.
the other side, the final stage, the awakening, is
Mm-hmm.
it's so worth it. It's so worth
Mm-hmm.
it.
And this is why, before our recording, we have a conversation about relationship between a
Mhm.
coach and client. And this is where that trust, that relationship come in key.
Yeah.
Because when you're able to create that trust with somebody, then we're able to go into that really deep dark place, because they know that they're not going there by themselves, and they know that they're going there with somebody who love and care for them, and we'll be there to protect them. So it's very for us to be able to really do the transformative work, really deep dive in, what's really been the driver, like as you mentioned. Uh, that's require a lot of love and trust and compassion.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest advice that my mentor, who really have guided me into this coaching journey, when I first started coaching client, right? This is when I kind of like fresh up my coach. I just finished my coach training program. from Coactive Training Institute and one of the top coaching school in the U.S. And I was having all this technique and powerful question, all this step I gotta do. And I remember one of my very first session, I was very nervous because I wasn't able to be present because I kept thinking, okay, I have to go to this step, that step, that step.
Yeah.
And at the end, even though the feedback I got was really positive, and and like I was getting good feedback from my client, but deep down I knew it wasn't the energy wasn't right from my end. So I remember sharing with my mentor at the time, and I was sharing about how much I was in my mind trying to figure out the next step, and she's told me something that I repeat to myself to this day before every coaching session. She said, Eddie, the greatest gift you can give someone is your present.
Hmm.
The greatest gift you can give someone is your present. So what means it's not the technique, it's not those will come in place. But the number one gift we can give somebody as a coach is that space, allow them to feel seen, the present, knowing that I am here with you. I'm here to love you and I'm here to care for you. Able to that will have fostered the relationship and the trust. We will allow all the technique and the question to come into place, but that has to be the foundation first, and uh, that really took me away from my mind, knowing that if I'm just present in the moment, magic will happen.
Yeah. And
And
it's
then have
allowing the relationship to
yeah.
just to become
Mm,
established, right? Like you show up for them, they arrive
mm,
at the sessions, you're there
yeah.
together, and the relationship should naturally build, and then the
Mm.
trust and the bond forms, and that's where so much.
100%. And it's also allowed me to have faith in the client and also myself, knowing that I already did the work. I have the technique. I have all the things that I need to do. That will come when it needs to. I don't have to go searching for it. That will have already been ingrained in me. That will come when it needs to. It's all about creating that space and the trust relationship like we talk about.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, completely. Wow, what a journey. So I like to ask people about what
Hmm.
they think their biggest rock bottoms are, but I think that
Hmm.
that was very woven into your story very
Hmm.
authentically with the loneliness and like
Hmm.
sort of the homesickness and not being able to sort of undo things and go back
Hmm.
home and sort of sticking with staying and pushing through.
Hmm.
Um, what would you say now?
Hmm.
And now that you've like made it through all of that and that you're a coach and you graduated, obviously you made it through, you
Hmm.
got your scholarship, all happened, you have your degree.
Hmm.
um what advice would you now give to yourself if you could have a conversation with yourself at
Mm.
your lowest, most rock bottom point? What advice would you give to yourself?
See, this is how I know you're a coach. 'Cause that's a coaching question right
Yeah,
there.
it's a good
Uh,
coaching question.
what would I tell or advice I give to my 18 years old self? Um, wow, that's a great question. I think before I give any advice to that younger version of me, my 18-year-old self, I think first I just want to say thank you to him. Because it's I it's so amazing to me that at such a young age and having no one around, he still has such a determination to move forward. He never give up, no matter how close he came to. And the fact that he didn't lost the love for for people, for human being, while going through that time. And actually it's intensified his love for people. It give him this passion to want to help other people. Uh, I have seen people who become cynics going through a difficult time, and for
Yeah.
some reason that kid just become more loving, even though the person he most cynical about was himself. He never lost that love for other people, and I I don't think that kid understood just how powerful that was. And if I could talk to him, I love to be able to share that and just share just how proud I am of him. And I want to thank him because everything that he went through, it informed me who I am today, informed me in what I do. And I really just hope that he's as proud of me as I am of him.
Yeah.
And And if I can give any advice to him, I would just say, give yourself more grace. You are 18 years old. This is the first time you're away from your family. You all by yourself. You are having a full, you maintain full escape. You have so much pressure, and you want to figure it out right then and there. And I understand why, but I wish he was uh, have more love for himself, have more grace, and understanding that this is okay. This is part of the process. It will not be less painful. The pain will be there, but the pain serve a purpose. So I would love for him to love himself more, trust the process, and keep on going the same way that he did. And I wish I could go back and show him that the light at the end of the tunnel. But I know for it to play out the way it is, he has to go through that experience. So I'm very very proud and very grateful for him.
That's great. Yeah, I think a word that really stuck out for me that you have said repeatedly throughout this episode, with how you show up and how you are with your clients is love.
Hmm.
And you have so much of it, and you, like a love for life, a love for what you do, and a love for
Hmm.
your clients. And that is really, that's going to be one of your unique, like defining characteristics as a coach, like how much love you have, and
Thank
it's
you.
visible.
That means a lot to me. Ah,
Yeah.
Megan, are you trying to make me cry? I-
Oh, no,
Megan
no.
trying to get some tear for me to get more view for her season opener. I see it. I see it. But
Oh,
thank you. It really means the world to me. Thank you so much.
yeah, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Hmm.
This was a very inspiring first conversation for season two, so I really appreciate it. If people hear this and they're super excited and they want to connect
Hmm.
with you and they want to work with you, where should they find you? Where can they go?
Yeah, they could find me on my website, which is eddietrung.com. So EWDIETRUONG.com. And then also on Instagram, my Instagram is at Eddie Truong underscore era. So Eddie Truong underscore ERA. And I also recently just published a book about how to overcome phone addiction. Because we have
Oh my
technology
God,
addiction in,
amazing.
a lot of us suffer from it. And this is the book I wrote really for myself because I struggled with screen and technology addiction for close to 10 years. So this book could be found at book.editune.com. And you were so gracious to me, and you were so welcoming and loving, and having me on and having me as your season opener and trusting me with that. I feel so grateful to you and your listener. I love to share with you guys a gift. If you go to my website and you check out the book, you can use the code thank you 100 and you can
Oh,
have the book for free.
wow, amazing. I will do that. I'm gonna do that straight. Yeah. I mean, if everyone has the phone thing, it's a thing.
Mhm.
And it's, I have more and more clients coming in worried about themselves and their loved ones and the phone
Yeah.
addiction. It's terrible. So
Yeah,
that's
and
wonderful.
that's actually one of first coaching. That was one of the things we removed the block because phone addiction keep us so uh, s- mentally stimulated that we could, even after we stop using our phone, we become very restless and build
Mm,
up anxiety and all this thing. And so one of the very first block I work with high performer was helping them overcome that.
yeah.
And if I can share a tip, and this is a secret, the way to overcome phone addiction is not to focus on overcoming phone addiction. Because if you focus on something, that's where your energy go to. So if you keep, for example, if you keep thinking, don't use phone, don't use phone, don't use phone, what's on your mind? Using phone, using phone,
Yeah.
using phone. It's the mind doesn't work in negative. It's like if I say, Megan, don't think about a pink elephant. Don't think
Yeah.
about a pink elephant. What is on your mind? A pink elephant.
Yeah.
So the key really was to focus on creating a life that's so fulfilling and whole that the urge to escape it naturally disappear. And also learning how to be able to sit with the uncomfortable emotion because we really are not addicted to our phone, right? We really addicted to avoiding discomfort because
Yeah, and the
we
stimulus from it.
it's
It's
100% because a lot of time, and I experience this too. A lot of time when I'm scrolling, I'm like, I don't even enjoy doing this, but I couldn't stop because I couldn't be able to sit with that, the boredom or the anxiety that come from not using it. So learning how to sit with the emotion, learning that emotional information, it tell you what you need to know about your current state. For example, boredom could tell you that that you need a life that's more fulfilling, or if you feel lonely, that's a yearning for connection. So be able to sit with this and see what the emotion is trying to tell you, and from then we build a fulfilling life, a natural creative life, is how you overcoming phone addiction. Because then overcoming phone addiction is just a byproduct of having a beautiful life, and that has been the key for me.
yeah, wow. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you so much,
Mhm.
and I look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Thank you so much for having me, Megan.
Yeah.